Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Stranger Things, Season 3, Episode 2, and the Mall Rats. And we're gonna dive into what is happening with Starcourt Mall and actually Hawkins. So we start with Billy Hargrove. So this is Max Mayfield's half brother. Actually, not even half. Like, they're brothers through a divorce. And I don't even think they're brothers and sisters through a divorce. And so first we come across Billy, and Billy is actually heading to. Oh, this is really interesting. So I think he was specifically going to meet Miss Wheeler, which is, oh man, that's a bad situation there. Fortunately, Miss Wheeler, decides against this. But as Billy's on his way, he comes across this abandoned barn, and he just kind of like spins out and in his car and crashes, and then finds his way into this barn, and he finds this upside down creature, which is made out of amalgamated flesh. It's really bad. So Nancy Wheeler in episode 1 was investigating these rats, right? Different than mall rats. Mall rats are different than regular rats. Mall rats are different than basement rats, right? So, and so these rats have been finding their way to this thing, and this thing is like building its own body. It's really super gross. But it, and so that's what's happening. And Billy is, connecting to this. And so Billy goes in, and Billy is taken by this upside down creature. The other thing that's really interesting is the upside down is a supernatural realm, right? And so you get this sense that, things are like, what are the creatures in the upside down? And there is some definite range. All right, so that happens. Now we move to Max and 11. So this is really interesting. So now, and basically at this point, 11 goes to 11 connects with Max, and she's having, and 11 is having romantic troubles with Mike Wheeler at this point. So because she can't hang out with Mike Wheeler, there's this open time slot where she ends up hanging out with Max. And this is actually good. And actually, I really love Stranger Things. And I really want to thank you for letting me share my commentary with you, because it helps me. I think one of the biggest reasons why I do this is it helps me to understand the show that I've seen and kind of get a deeper understanding of it. And so one of the things I thought was really interesting is Max is really needed. And the reason why is this show had a lot of boy energy, right? Like, it was created by two Duffer brothers, by the Duffer brothers. And then their focus is Mike Wheeler, Will Byers, Dustin Henderson, and Lucas Sinclair, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of dudes, So at this point, they, finally we get to the point where, and then 11's in there, and 11 is extremely alienated, right? Because she is, I think the best way to understand 11 is she was a child soldier created and raised by the U.S. government, right? That is super weird, but that's what it is. That's where we're at, right? And so, so at this point, and she's very different than the boys, right? Her upbringing was radically different, and she's a girl, right? Like, so Max is actually very much needed from the perspective of this being a successful show. And so 11 now has this friend, and she starts to connect with Max. Okay. And she explains this situation with Mike Wheeler. Now this gets really interesting. She, Max is like, oh, it's no big deal that you guys are having trouble. I've broken up with, I've dumped Lucas Sinclair 5 times, right? Yeah. Whoa, what? Now, actually, this is, okay, so this is really interesting. I love this show. So one of the things is Lucas and Max end up breaking up, right? And actually, they really separate, right? Like, and I don't think that was a coincidence. And the reason why is this pattern of one partner dumping the other partner. If you're in this, and I would say the number is 3, run for the hills, right? Just wait for one of the breakups and then run for the hills and never look back. And the reason why is I was in one of these situations. I had a girlfriend in college, and she dumped me like at least 3 times, right? And I would always try to get her back. And then finally, the way that stopped was, I think it was summer break, and she had dumped me, well, as per usual, right? And so at that point, I left, and I saw this incredible different girl, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna let this one stick. Right? Like, and I just did. I was like, and she was like, okay, and then she started, and then she was calling, and I was like, what are you calling? We're broken up. And she's like, yeah, we're broken up the way we're normally broken up. I'll forgive you. And I was like, you don't need to forgive me. We're broken up. Bye. And that was it. Like, it was done. And I would highly encourage you to do the same. If you have breakup number 3, that's it. Just let it stick, right? Like, because you don't want to repair that relationship. It was not good, right? So, one life lesson in the middle of and I actually think they did a good job of showing this in the show, that they weren't meant to be together. Like, it was just like Lucas and Max were not a good fit, right? And the reason why is Max didn't really like Lucas, or she wouldn't have dumped him 5 times. Like, anybody dumps you 5 times, just like take the hint. They don't really like you, right? Like, wow. So at this point, Max gives her very bad dating advice to 11, and at this point, and then 11 goes to the mall with Max, and they have a very nice scene there where they're trying on clothes. And there's just a lot of girl energy, and it's like a clothing change montage, and a makeover montage essentially. And it's really nice that 11 has a friend. That is a good thing, right? But 11 then sees Mike Wheeler on the way out and realizes, and he had lied to her. He had said that his grandmother was sick, but here he is at the mall. Now, what's wild is he was actually at the mall trying to buy 11 a gift, but that didn't work out because he only has like $3, right? So he's a teenage boy. He ain't got no money. Like, he ain't got no job, right? So he doesn't have any money, and that just fails. And the reason he was there was Lucas was like, well, this is how you get your girl back, right? And so, yeah, it was very interesting. The other thing is also, at this point, we're getting this recurring joke within the show. And the recurring joke within the show is poor Will Byers being like, can we just play D&D? And so he's always asking, and Lucas and Mike are like really into this. Oh, we got to fix this breakup thing, and it's a whole thing, right? So, but 11 dumps Mike Wheeler at the mall, at Starcourt Mall. The other thing that's really pretty amazing, and I gotta admit, like, this is definitely, I remember the mall, I remember the 80s, and they do an incredible job of just kind of bringing that to life. It was very, very cool. So we'll cut it off there. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.